Hello, everyone. Welcome. All right, I am coming to you again from my friend's room, the purple room. We're just going to call it. Still on the road, on my way to new destinations. So, always fun. And hopefully, you guys can hear me all okay. If you guys are joining me live today in Geek Camp, we are going to talk about workflows, automations, and CRM. And I'm going to speak specifically about ClickFunnels 2.0 and ActiveCampaign. Now, for those of you who have worked with me or heard me talk before, I am probably going to be one of the last holdouts in terms of when it comes to going over. Hey, Madison, when it comes to going over to ClickFunnels 2.0 with respect to marketing and automations and CRM. Because I am very biased towards ActiveCampaign. It is, when I work with people, the most common geek stack or tech stack that we put them into is a ClickFunnels 97 offer and an ActiveCampaign. Especially if they're just starting with 500 contacts, you can start between $15 to $25 a month, even up to 10,000 contacts. Then it still is a decent combo with that 97 and ActiveCampaign. So I am just like I'm unapologetically biased towards ClickFunnels, I am also unapologetically biased towards ActiveCampaign. But I really want 2.0 to work and replace ActiveCampaign one day. So today what I prepared is just a breakdown of kind of, depending on what you're wanting to do, how to do it in both systems and the pros and the cons. If this is helpful for you, then tomorrow we're going to do a deep dive into it, so that you can build out your automations and your workflows in whether you're using ActiveCampaign or ClickFunnels 2.0. We can deep dive into it. So that is the game plan for today. So let me go ahead and let's just level set on a couple things before we get started. So let me share my screen, and here we go. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. All right, entire screen. There we go. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put that up onto the stream. All right. So here is what we are looking at, and ignore the the payment up top. I got to switch out my card. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into present mode. All right. So when we start talking about workflows, automations, and CRMs, what's really important is that we are not just talking about, let me take that off auto progress. Oh, not autoplay. We want to present view, prevent full screen. There we go. Okay. So when we are talking about workflows and automations, this is typically what people have in their head. They're thinking about just the email part of it. So, and in our marketing world, we call it follow-up funnels, or automations, or in 2.0 world, we call it workflows, right? And essentially, straight from ClickFunnels, definition of a follow-up funnel or a workflow or an automation is that they're used as follow-up sequences to something that somebody is going through in a funnel, and it'll teach you something about this is where they're going to chew out, but the funnel itself, or the follow-up funnel, most people would say, especially if you watch Dan Kennedy, most people would say that you actually will have higher conversions in the follow-up funnel than you will in the original funnel that they go through, aka the ClickFunnels funnel that we all think about, right? In my own experience, this has partially been true, but what I know for sure is that follow-up funnels do drive people back into your offers. They are a way to extend your touch points with customers, and they're also a really good way for people to kind of warm up to you, and it adds all of those touch points for you. So I do think that, when we think about follow-up funnels, they're a critical part in your funnel system and in the overarching just scheme of things. Now, before, follow-up funnels were somewhat, I don't want to say inaccessible, but a little bit forgotten because they're a lot of work. It's kind of tedious to create a bunch of these emails. I have, worked with all different kinds of copywriters, and some copywriters will charge up to $10,000 for a really successful follow-up funnel. So it can be pricey if you want to do it well, which sometimes is just not available to a lot of entrepreneurs when they're first starting. Now with ChatGPT, you can literally create a series of follow-up funnels using Russell Brunson's soap opera sequence, or using Russell Brunson's um invitation sequence or whatever it may be. You can basically plug in, and I think Winter actually created, I'll have to add that to this stream, a whole list of other frameworks for follow-up funnels that you could teach chat GPT what the series is, and then have them, have the general gist of what it is, and then have it be created. Now, another thing on follow-up funnels is that oftentimes we think about it, it's after they've interacted with the funnel. So they've come into a funnel and then they have, let's say they buy or they don't buy, then you have a follow-up funnel to basically say, hey, did you forget something? Or let me tell you more in case you're on the fence, or whatever it may be. But follow-up funnels don't just have to be after an initial funnel. You could also have a series of emails, invitations that are leading up to driving people into a funnel, right? So both are true, and whatever automation or workflow system that we're working with have to be able to accommodate for that. But that brings me to this next part, which most people don't talk about when we're talking about the automation or workflow system. And that is, okay, well, I want to be able to send a follow-up funnel, but the most common use cases are, I want to send a different set of emails to somebody who maybe got a little bit farther in the customer journey, aka they got to they put in their name, they got to the credit card and they didn't buy. They're a little bit warmer, a little bit more ready for a more maybe turned on sales conversation than somebody who they visit the page and they don't buy, right? Or they maybe just give, the opt-in part of it, but they don't do that first, like step one of the two-step checkout, right? That might be a different follow-up email. And so I would want in my follow-up system to be able to know those type of buyers. In addition, I would want any kind of information on a contact to be able to be used for creative ways that I can invite people into funnels and I can follow up with them post funnel. A lot of times, especially with like application funnels, we learn something about them. So we might have a question of like, what makes you want to do an application today? Or what makes you want to work with us? And maybe there's 5 answers. Well, based on those 5 answers, again, we can do a follow-up sequence that's more targeted. But I have to have a system that knows the answers and understands that about that person. And that's where the second part of a really good follow-up system, workflow system, automation system comes in. And that's the CRM part. And the CRM part is that I just pulled this definition from Salesforce because I think it's one of the biggest CRMs in the entire world. But a customer relationship management system is a piece of technology that manages all of the company relationships and interactions with customers and potential customers. The goal is to improve business relationships, to grow your business, and it helps your company. I usually say that the CRM is the brain of your customers. Like, it is your company's brain when it comes to customers. All contact and customer information should be in your CRM system. Now, for those of us who have come from enterprise, in this marketing space, the way that we do CRMs is very different. So unlike in enterprise, we do need heavyweights like Salesforce, or there's also, some companies just use Marketo, although that's largely a marketing system. Or there's also like Pipedrive is another popular one. Or like you'll hear about some social CRMs. But the essence is that you have one place where all of your customer data is housed, and you can see the record of that customer. What did they buy? What did they attend? What were they interested in? What's some information about that customer? When is their birthday? What events did they come to, right? There's one place. And in this entrepreneur space, we don't need heavyweight tools like Salesforce. I think it's always so interesting whenever I meet people in this entrepreneurial space, even if you're big, even if you're huge, I still think that Salesforce is an enterprise level system, and it's just too big for things in our space, right? Like, we don't need anything that complicated or able to handle the level of complexity that like big enterprise needs. I think we need something that's far more agile and easy to pivot. And so things like Salesforce, those CRMs are not needed in our space. Instead, we see things like the most popular ones. Of course, the one that I recommend and what's in our approved Geek Stack is ActiveCampaign. Other ones that you might have heard of would be things like Infusionsoft or Keep. Entreport's another popular one. ConvertKit kind of acts as a CRM. Even when you're starting, dare I say, MailChimp kind of is a CRM. And then, of course, if you're in ClickFunnels 1.0, kind of is a CRM. And 2.0, I think it has all the architecture to be a CRM. It's not quite there yet, but the reason I'm doing this today and the reason why I think that 2.0 took a turn this week for the better, and that is we're starting to see custom fields. And custom fields on contact records is the most important part when it comes to a CRM. Let me show you a little bit what I mean. Okay. So let me go ahead and do this. Oh, and just in terms of CRM, the most classic functions on a CRM are lead management, contact management, email reporting, and marketing. And obviously, we all know that to be true. Okay, so let me come over here and I'm just going to stop my screen for a second. And then I'm going to pull up my active campaign and I'm going to use that first. And then I'm going to go over to ClickFunnels 2.0. So, and I'm going to try really hard to not necessarily share client information or emails other than my own. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and come back over to use StreamYard. All right. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to first share my active campaign. And the reason why I'm sharing this first is, again, because without a shadow of doubt, active campaign is my CRM. So I have it here. I just have it searched as just my Aura Delphi 3, just so you guys can kind of see what's going on. So now this is active campaign. On active campaign, this is the most important part. So if I'm working on my contact level, in my contacts, there are tags and fields. So these fields are what we call metadata. So in any really good CRM system, you have a contact and all of those contacts are on one list. I'm going to so encourage everybody to have one master list of all of your contacts. If you're coming from MailChimp, they develop a really bad habit, or they help you develop a really bad habit to have multiple lists, but that's not what we want. What we want is one list, and you want tags to help manage all of your contacts and metadata to help manage all of your contacts. So, for instance, this is what I mean by metadata. So right here, I can see I have general details, and then you can see right here. So with our Geek Out members, we would want to know, hey, what's the start date that they come in and they start receiving newsletters? When did they first sign up with us? Like, when did they first get on our list and start getting our newsletters? So that this date, I can do a lot of really cool stuff with. Another one is customer type. So customer type could be like, are they an agency? Are they a potential geek modder? Are they a potential client? Are they a geek who is wanting to create their own funnels, right? Are they a DIYer? Are they in a done for you program? So this is a customer type that we have. Then we have Geek Out membership type. So you know how all of you guys are going to have your continuity levels, level 1, level 2, level 3. Well, this then easily tells us, okay, what level are they? And then we have our trial start date because we're running trials. And so I want to know when somebody comes into Geek Out Academy, what is their trial start date? Because they have a 30-day trial. And inside of that trial, I want to be able to target them and email them and touch base with them and make sure they have the best possible first experience to help secure that they would stay beyond the trial. And then after that, we have a start date. Now, these are just the beginnings of the management or the fields that I would want on contact records. And the fields come from things that of questions that we have and ways that we want to serve our humans. Other fields that are going to start being added on here is we have geek mods. You guys have all heard us start talking about geek mods. And we really want to know who are the modders in our community so that when we start inviting into, hey, contribute your mod to the mod library, that we're very targeted in who we target with that, right? And these fields help us to be able to do that. So this is a critical element of a CRM. Okay, now let me switch over to ClickFunnels and 2.0. And this is where it gets exciting in terms of what they released this week. So this week, and I'm just going to pull up my record. So again, I can protect the innocent. This is where it gets exciting in that I can potentially start to manipulate custom variables on myself or on my contacts. So let me just pull myself up here. And I'm going to go ahead and view full profile. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen again. Here we go. Okay, so here is me in ClickFunnels 2.0. I am just over here in contacts and then all contacts, and I just pulled up my profile. Okay, so and of course, yeah, if you guys want to email me, text me, whatever, do it. I'm all great. So the right here is you can see. Okay, source, I'm still trying to understand exactly how this gets populated. We don't know yet. And then time zone is another one where I think, still trying to learn like how does that get populated. And then again, like we're still learning all of these pieces. But if we want to come over and we want to start to actually say, hey, how do I, manage this contact? I'm going to typically what I would do is I can come up and I can edit this contact, right? I can add the information onto it. And this is where you can see here custom attributes. So list, unfortunately, they are supporting list, which again, I would highly encourage you guys to have one master list. Type, date, initiated. And this is where it's like, I'm not entirely sure where these variables are, like why these variables are there. And so let me pause here really quick and I'm going to go over to another scene and show you this. Give me just 1 second. Okay. All right. And we are going to go over to the new screen where we can basically manipulate contact variables. And this is where, again, in Active Campaign, super easy. I just add new fields, add new groups, and it immediately gets added. In the ClickFunnels 2.0, it's a little bit hidden, and that's where I'm just going down to in terms of being able to add, almost there, being able to add those custom variables onto a contact record. Okay. All right. Okay. Come on, you can do it. All right. Okay. All right. Yes. And I think that this is actually, yes. Okay. So let me pull up my contact record again. Okay. And this is actually shout out to Christopher Coolner Group who also made this. So the way that the old ClickFunnels Classic used to work is that the way that these variables, I'm just going to talk through it. The way that these variables got put on a contact record is that you would actually have to create, yes, this has the potential to grow into a great CRM. It does. I think architecturally, unfortunately, I can't see the name of the person joining, but I agree. So architecturally, I think they're putting all the right things in place. But I think there are a couple in the UI or features that are missing for us to totally get there. But architecturally, it does seem like they're in the right spot. So today, if you're in Classic, in order to get that metadata that I showed you in Active Campaign on a contact record, you actually would need to create a form out in your funnel system. So, and that's what, let me pull another one of those up and I can show you guys that. We were building away in 2.0 today. So we have a lot of changes in there. So we can pull up, all right, I'm just going to pull up a, let me go to, all right. I'm just going to do a new page. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen. Okay. So the way that the old ClickFunnels or ClickFunnels Classic did it. All right. We're just going to pick this one. And great. We're just going to create that page. Okay. So in the ClickFunnels Classic, how you got the metadata on a contact record is you would have to create forms in a funnel. So instead of like right here in Active Campaign, I have a separate space where I can basically add fields or add field groups, which I highly recommend. I'm super organized in my Active Campaign use and with like naming conventions and all that other good stuff. It's super important just to like keep me sane. Think about like, I always think about like Container Store. How do I organize as best possible whenever I'm using a CRM in order to use it? And so I highly leverage adding a group. So you might have like product information, and then in the group, you would then have the custom fields. So add fields. So we have Geek Out member, and then you'd have your fields, or this is the generic stuff from Active Campaign. Some of my accounts, this gets to be like there's 20 different groups depending on what you're wanting to do and parse and all that good stuff. But it's super easy. I can just add a field. Let's say I'm going to add this test field. I can choose my group. So if we had a new one with Geek Out member, like let's say that we wanted to say like, birthday, right? Now that's not really Geek Out information. I might put that on general. And then here I have field types. So this is really important just for data cleanliness. So I can choose a date and a time so that my birthday is not some random text variable. I can actually do stuff like when the day is 18 and the month is October, then send this message out to this person, right? So I can start to do really intelligent targeting in my automations based on those data variables and based on what I have here that's available. So sure, I'll go ahead and add it. And then you can see here, this custom variable is then what you use in terms of programming automations and emails. So if I was going to have that automation to say, I want to send everybody in my Geek Out community just a little birthday well wishes from the geeks, then I would have an automation to basically say, if birthday equals, is today's date, then send. And then inside the email, I can say, hey, Christopher, today, and then you could have like the actual date of the birthday, blah, 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 is, March 13th, whatever is your birthday, right? So we can use this information inside of the email in order to customize and personalize it even more. And so again, this is very classic CRM functionality. Now, if we were to go over to ClickFunnels, and of course you're taking forever to load, come on, ClickFunnels. The way that the classic used to do it is that you would actually have to create variables on a form in order to see those variables on a contact record. Now, it would be universal. So when I created the fields on a form, it would, all right, let's try something else here because it is not wanting to load. Let's try funnel. All right, let's try this. Okay, so this is going to be, workflow geek camp demo. All right, great. So we're just going to create a funnel. And then what we're going to do in that funnel is this is then where I'm just going to make a page. And again, this is one of the things on 2.0, at least from my perspective, of like, it's not quite ready yet. Because just to create custom fields on a contact record, I shouldn't have to go through this process, right? But this is the way that it was in 1.0. And so I'm testing it here. Okay, let's go ahead and create the page. All right, and then let's go ahead and get into the page. And this is what, I'm just going to go down here. We're going to make a new section. Great. And then let's just do a 1-column row. And we're going to do form. So I'm going to do a new input field. And this is what people were going crazy about. So now if I click on one of these input fields, right, I have the typical input types so that I can see. But right here, this custom type is exactly what we're talking about. So if I wanted to get that same birthday, right, I would need to have the custom type, the name. So this would be, I'll just call it birthday, birthday, right? And then let's say it's required. My label would be your birthday. Okay. Because we love to celebrate you. And then of course that email variable. So now in my contact record, I would be able to see the label of your birthday. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do here. And let me go ahead and delete all this other stuff. All right. And this is what people were getting excited about, in that I can create a form, but can I actually see it on the custom record? right? And then it looks like we are having a little bit of an issue there, but it might just be because of I'm in preview. So we're going to test this out on live, and then we're going to test it out. All right, so we're going to delete that. Sorry, Russell, we're going to delete you. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and preview. Now, what this should do is, all right, so October, let's see, and it doesn't, and this is where it doesn't give me, I don't think it gave me a type, which in birthday, let's see, required, default forced, let's see, value. That's all just the things. Yeah, so it doesn't give me a type variable yet. So I am, yeah, unfortunately, because it doesn't say, so the thing that's missing is similar to like in Active Campaign when I can add a field. This would be birthday. This, where does it go? And then this is the field type. So you can see here, these are all my types of data variables, and it's the data variable of date, which, because when data is just regular text, it's really hard to base any automations off of that off of just text, because our computers need to be able to read the text in order to do something intelligent with it. Versus if we know that it is a date, we can have rules like, okay, I know this is a date, so I can look it up by month, date, year, right? And so that's where that gets so important. So here, it doesn't look like it gives me the ability yet to do a particular type. So you can see when I'm here, right, I could type in 10/18/1978, right? And I could suggest what that needs to be, like that, 1978. But then, oh, and I need a button. Let's give myself a button so we can submit this bad boy. All right. We're just going to do that button. And it looks like the button's already set to submit the page. Great. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit save. And let's go ahead and do this. And I'm going to do a refresh. And I'm going to go to the live page. All right. And so I'm going to do this. So my Aura Delphi 3 is going to get my my proper, month, date, year. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, the next one is, let's say somebody else comes along or let's say somebody who's in another country and they do this crazy thing where it's day, month, year, which is pretty common in a lot of other areas of the world that are not US. So I'm going to do here or Delphi 3+1 and submit it. Okay. So, but then next person comes around and they're like, oh, October 18th. 1978. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so that is just 3 different ways that people could enter dates. There's probably infinite numbers. So what that causes problems on the back end is when I am back here. And let's see. Yep. Okay, so I have my 3. I'm going to go ahead and do a refresh. So now I can see here, I have my birthday shows up right there, but it's that format of 10/18/78. So super cool in that we do have the ability to do custom attributes. Not so cool in that I actually have to create a funnel with the variables in order to get it onto the contract record. So it's not quite to the level of a CRM, but we're getting there, right? We're getting there. And the other hard part about doing it through a funnel is that basically my recommendation to all of you guys is have a funnel that's like your data at your custom attribute funnel, which is basically just a way to have all of your attributes on one page so that you can change them in one spot and then send people through. Because the other thing here is like, doesn't really look like I have any ability to edit this or edit the variables. I can, come in here and I'm pretty sure, yeah, it will let me like, if I want to do now October 18th, it lets me do that, which is unfortunate because your data variables are they're limited in terms of like, it's just text-based, right? But again, the architecture is there, which is really important, but it's just not quite to the level of a CRM, which makes doing workflow management a little bit more difficult. Okay, so let me pop back over for any comments. Hey, Christopher, it's so good to see you. Okay, so and please, Madison, Christopher, and anybody else who's watching, post your questions on here, because when we start getting into automations and CRMs, it does get fairly complex. So, but I wanted to give 2.0, again, just kudos to Susan and Dan, who are always pushing me to get into 2.0. And I'm usually resistant, not on the funnel side, but on the CRM side, just because I know what ActiveCampaign and what a CRM really needs to be. So is that field birthday now there in the drop down if you add a field on a different funnel? Oh, great question. Okay, so let me show you that. So if I come back in and I'm going to, let's go ahead and I'm going to test it it shouldn't be funnel specific because the data attribute is on the contact record, but just to keep a clean test, I'm going to go ahead and just do, I need to create a blank. Yeah, I don't think they do that. Okay, so let me just go ahead and choose this, and this is test 2. Let's go ahead and create. It shouldn't be, or it wasn't on 1.0, but let's just run that test. I haven't actually tested that yet, so it's a great question. So let's go ahead and come down here. Let's just delete all of the stuff we don't need. All right, and let's go ahead and add an element, and let's go input. Okay, and then we always want to do 2 because email is our unique. Oh, and our button went away. That's okay. We can grab that button back. All right, there we go. Okay, so we got email, and now here, if I look down, it is not there. And so, which again, this is one of those ones that you would expect to see if the custom variable is there. Now, here's where it gets even more dicey. So if I choose a custom variable and I were to do, let's just say that it shouldn't be case sensitive, but let's do birth date, right? And then it requires, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay, so now the behavior I would expect to happen is that it's going to create, I have your birthday, right? And this custom field was all lowercase birth date, right? Now, if I come in and I am going to come in as a customer and I'm going to put in my information, it should overwrite, right? So if it was the same, but we know it's not because I renamed it. So let's see. Let's go here. Okay. And then let's just go 10/18/78. And let's go ahead and that button showed up there. Okay. So let's see now if it, I'm going to go ahead and come here and it probably will create a new custom variable. Okay, cool. So it doesn't look like it, so it doesn't look like, let's see, is it case sensitive? Let me just double check what I enabled that. Yeah, so birth date. So it does look like it is not case sensitive, which is encouraging. And it does look like it overwrote that. So just to, oops, that's not what I'm going to do. So just to show you that again. So I'm here. I'm going to do a refresh. I see here 19. Yep. So it did recognize it and it's not case sensitive. But if I spell it differently, so if I were to come in here and say, let's say I actually said birthday, right? Again, computers are dumb. They don't know. And so it's probably going to think that that's a new variable because it's not of the same letters. Even though it is case sensitive, which is interesting. Okay, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to say that October 18, and we'll just do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and click. And what should happen is a new, yep, in fact, that's exactly what happened. So it looks like it is not case sensitive, but it does create a new custom variable, which is problematic because essentially then what, again, you need basically a library, like a data dictionary to say, here are all my custom attributes, exactly, how they're spelled in order to reuse it on all of my funnels. So again, this would not be a typical thing you would see in a CRM. You would have a place to manage all of your custom attributes, but unfortunately 2.0 just isn't quite there yet. But again, architecturally, I think they're going to get there. So let me pop over to StreamYard, see if you guys have questions. And if you don't pick a template, you get a black funnel. Oh yeah, got it. Hey, Ben. So glad you're here. Okay, yes. All right. So again, we're getting closer. We have the ability to have custom attributes. We can't really do anything with the custom attributes other than put them probably inside of an email. So like if I was going to come in here and let's see, what could be a way that I could do this without, let me just stop sharing really quick so I protect the innocent. All right, I'm going to pop on over and I'm going to create an email. All right. And I'm just going to create a new email really quick. Okay, let me share my screen again. All right, I'm going to add to stream. Okay, so I'm in here. I'm creating a new email. I think the only thing that we really can do with custom attributes right now is to be able to put them into the body of an email. So if I then wanted to send that email out and say, give us kid a smile day or give somebody a happy birthday, right? So I can basically come in here and, oh, sorry, this gets me every time. All right, I do not want a template. There we go. We're gonna do Geek Out General. It's gonna be like test birthday. It's your birthday. Okay, and then we're just gonna do no reply and create. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here and gets me every time. All right, we're going to edit the email. So this is where the custom attributes come in. So when I am creating an email and I wanted to have that regular birthday message to go out to all my geeks. All right, there we go. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, it's your birthday. And this is where it gets really tricky because, again, when you have controlled data, right? I know it's month, date, year. I can play off of it better, right? Because I can say like, today's your birthday, enter date, right? Because it's a set format. But because I don't really know what anybody's going to put in that box, they could literally put, the day the moon was above the pink cloud, right? Like I have to be really careful in the way that I craft it because it could basically be anything. But I do know that I asked them for their birthday. And so I have to preface it like, it's your birthday, or like, you told us today was your birthday, and then insert words. So here's where I would insert those words. And I think it's merge tag. No, let's see. It doesn't look like maybe it's available yet. So what I'm going to guess is that it probably is in, yeah, it doesn't look like at least it's available inside of the editor. So normally like an active campaign, it's like a percentage and then the name and then a percentage. So we'd probably just need to look at, I bet it's in the help articles because I think I've looked it up before, what the merge is. Yeah, no. Yeah, so I'll get that that code to you guys on how to do that. But basically I would look up what is the data variable, and then you would put that personalized tag in there. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's there yet. So you would put that personalized tag in there, and then that's how you can use it. Again, when you can't control the data variable and you're not so sure, it's a little bit harder to really manipulate and use that. But that is how you would do that. Okay, so let me go ahead and jump back over. Okay, no questions yet. Now, let's look at just for, again, a comparison, because if you're working with ActiveCampaign, this is how you would do that. So in ActiveCampaign, you, of course, have the personalized tag that you can just pick right there. Or if I wanted to actually come into an automation and say, I want to create an automation for a birthday. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And I'm just going to start from scratch. I'm going to create an automation. Go ahead and start from scratch, continue. Now, the cool thing in 2.0, right, is that it's normally, especially if I'm doing an automation off of a funnel, I can easily just like click that little right arrow and start it, which is a really nice feature of 2.0. In ActiveCampaign, I always am starting my automations from the beginning. And of course, the law of demo. Come on. All right, I think my internet is, let's just see. Are you guys still with me? Okay, I think I'm still streaming. I'm still live. All right, things are going. Let me just try to do a refresh. All right. Some other ones in our world that you may hear about, but I don't recommend them. So HubSpot is a really popular one. I really don't recommend it. It's pretty brutal to use. ConvertKit is a decent one if you're growing, but just know that you'll outgrow it soon. And then, of course, if you're in MailChimp, we highly recommend you get out of MailChimp as soon as possible and get into a real CRM. And then, of course, we recommend ActiveCampaign. Entreport's another really nice one out there. I actually don't really have too many qualms with Entreport, other than the reason why I don't like it in my ClickFunnels stack is there's too much overlap and it's kind of pricey, and that's not worth it. But it's a really beautiful user experience, and functionality wise, it's pretty on point. Okay, and I do not know why of course, it's the law of demos. All right, let's try this again. If this doesn't work, I will use a current automation. Okay, let's just use a current automation for the purpose of today's demo. All right, so today we have our there we go, after party. All right, so I'm just going to come in and just use an automation to show you guys how these personal tags would work. They're super easy, super slick, and ActiveCampaign. So if I wanted to send out that birthday one to say, hey, I want to send you a birthday, and today is your birthday, because I have the date already formatted, I can easily, all right, this is going to just keep cycling me back through. All right, so let me just grab another one here and I'll show you guys. Give me 1 second. If you guys have any questions, just go ahead and drop them in and I will answer. Okay, cool. All right, there we go. So something about the share. All right, let me go ahead and create a new automation and then I will open it up here in just a second. Something about that Zoom share it is not liking. Maybe it's a combination of StreamYard and Zoom share. And I will follow up if this isn't working. I will follow up with a, all right, here we go. With a recording of it. All right. Yeah, I think there's something about the Zoom share. The beautiful law of demos. All right, I will follow up with the email sequence on ActiveCampaign, but basically in the UI editor on ActiveCampaign, it's super easy. That's called a personalized tag. You just click it, you drop down and you pick it and bada bing, bada boom, you're good. Okay. So, and that is how you would easily be able to do that in ActiveCampaign. And then you would set a trigger to say, if the current date, so anybody that comes into our world, they're going to go into that automation. If the current date is equal to birth date, then fire automation. Super easy. And so this is one of many of the CRM functions. Other things that you might use that for is, for instance, an application funnel. So I'm working with a client right now several of them, if you have an application, people apply for the application, maybe they do it out on Calendly. And so I need ActiveCampaign to be a listener to say, hey, once that meeting date is scheduled, I want to create an email sequence coming up to that date. And then I also want to do a follow-up if I don't see a buyer tag, so that I can, make sure to do that follow-up. So again, it's one of those custom fields where in ActiveCampaign, I can create a custom date saying, if they have the date, then, if this is their meeting date, then I can trigger the automation based around that meeting date. And then we have a couple more, like, especially if you use checkboxes or you use like plans, especially because all of us are on continuity kind of stuff, right? So in a continuity, you would have a custom variable to say, okay, what level of continuity are they at? So that I can then send automations to say, if at level 1, then send. But the only reason I know that is because my data variables are set as checkboxes. And I know then the exact match of the checkbox feature to be able to trigger automations. Okay, so if we start using ActiveCampaign and CF2, gets to the point that we can switch to using 2 only, do you think it'll be easy to transfer the data from ActiveCampaign to CF2? I love this question so much. Okay, so let me break it down on what I think will be easy and what I think is not. So as a general rule of thumb, if you're using 2.0 and ActiveCampaign, help your future self love your current self by doing a couple things. So the first thing is, let me show you, for instance, what we do on our Geek Out stuff to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for when that transfer or when that possibility is there, it's there. So every contact, I'm going to show you guys one of our workflows. So even for the masterclass that a lot of you guys are participating in, right? We are using 2.0 for people to register for the masterclass. So this is our Challenge Secrets Masterclass automation. So you can see that the flow is they opted into the Challenge Masterclass. Cool. We are adding the tags in ClickFunnels just like we would add an Active Campaign, so that at least both systems have the exact same tags applied. And the reason is because I have not yet seen in the import the way that ClickFunnels handles the tag ads. So we're just taking care of that right away. So in your 2.0 Active Campaign setup, I would have an initial step where the same tags are added in both systems. So here you can see, just like our tagging convention, which Madison asked me to talk about the naming convention that I use for my tags, because I'm kind of anal when it comes to my tag management. So I'll talk about that in a second. But the tag is on the contact record, right? In ClickFunnels 2.0. Then it sends to Active Campaign, and you can see that it sends the exact same tag to my Active Campaign. So it's add a tag, lead, challenge, Secrets Masterclass. So it's the exact same tag. And I'm just sending email first and last. One little, oh, look at that. The birthday came up. So that is, so those are matched and it's the exact same tag. Then the other thing that we're doing is, that's really kind of the first and foremost. In terms of when the data comes over on the custom attribute level, my assumption is that, at least based on what we see right now too on import contacts, is that we will be able to have a mapping. The problem, though, is that we will not be able to do that, I think, until the data variables on the contact record are able to be set. Because if I have like a date in Active Campaign, a date format, and I have just a text field in ClickFunnels, the mapping of those, the text field will just read what is exactly in the data variable over here, but you won't be able to do anything with it. So I think as long as the variables match, right, or the date formats match, that's when you would probably move over, and then you should be able to map it. And that mapping functionality is in ClickFunnels 2.0. So I think that will be good. So that's on the tag level. We're just managing it both systems right now. On the data variable level, I think that the mapping system will be there, so it will be easy to map. The only thing that probably will not come over is the activity record. So in here, for instance, and again, let me just pause for a second so I can look up my mine to protect the innocent. So is in Active Campaign, I have a rich history of what has been done with all of my contacts. And it's in a log, basically. So let me show you. All right, so I'm going to go to my contact record. All right, let me show my screen. Okay, so on the contact record, oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so on the contact record here, I can see a rich history of what's been done on the contact, right? So I know, okay, I subscribed to my list 22 days ago. I entered an automation. I had a campaign sent. I bounced from a list. I then subscribed again. I entered another automation, right? So I can see the rich history of what's happened with this contact. I doubt that data is going to be able to be sent, because I haven't seen it with most CRM transfers. The activity records are kind of going to be lost. Now, having said that, if you look in 2.0, again, it has the inkling of all the things that we'd want to see. It has it looks like it is collecting the activity on a contact record. Again, sorry, let me just pause for a second, protect the innocent. I'm going to pull up my contact record in ClickFunnels so you can see what I mean. But the activities are not quite registering right. It's kind of like, I think they're actually registering too many nonsensical events that most of us would not care about from a like a retargeting marketing perspective. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Okay, so and I'm just gonna view full profile. All right, let me add to my stream. So here in 2.0, right, I have the activity record. So you can see that ClickFunnels is tracking again, it's there's weird windowing things too, but so it's tracking like, okay, they opted in 1 month ago. So this is activities that I would want to see on a contact record. It's kind of hard to read. There's not like key customer touch point activities, kind of if you compare it over to like active campaign, right? Where it's like they enter an automation, they go onto a list, they get sent a campaign, I can add a contact note. So like here I can add a note. So test, if you're using a text message system that's integrated with it, it would go on the contact record. If I have a Zendesk, it would go on the contact record. Like this is a full record of the meaningful events in that contact, right? Versus over here on ClickFunnels, I'm not quite sure on the activity level what's being tracked. And then the real thing I would want to know would be like opens and sents and did they click on things, right? I 100% believe that ClickFunnels 2.0 will get there. It's just not there yet. And when I'm transferring over, I'm going to lose that historic data. I'm going to guess. I don't think that there's a way probably to import the activity record. Now, in the big scheme of things, is that really important? The only thing that I would say was important, and we can work on what that conversion looks like, is in active campaign. What I might do before I make that final move is to give contacts some kind of score or some kind of meaningful thing, meaning they are actively engaged and clicking on my stuff, or they clicked on this, or like do some kind of audit on what are they engaging with, so that I can maybe then put that as a custom variable on the contact record to be able to pull that over to 2.0. So that is a very long-winded answer to your question of, is it going to be ready? I think the short answer is that the mapping is good. The data variables, I think we'll get there. Activity will probably be lost, but in the big scheme of things, compared to like the stuff you're going to save by being in one system, it might not be that bad of a thing, right? And there's maybe some things that we can do to say, hey, what's the score of this customer? Now, on that score, depending on the plan that you're at, Active Campaign actually has a contact scoring system that you can use. Okay, the only other thing that could potentially be lost, and this is getting way, way in the weeds, we could get more into this probably even in like an advanced workshop, is if you are using the deals pipeline in Active Campaign. So the deals pipeline, which is basically how do I actually track somebody who I want to systematically bring through a process from a prospect to a lead, or a lead to a buyer, or a buyer to ascension. And so there are deals and deal flows or pipelines that allow me to manage that. Again, I don't think any of that will probably transfer over. Although when they on phase 2 say social CRM, that's essentially the essential functionality of a social CRM. And so I'm hoping that maybe that will be there, but we just don't know enough, I think, yet to know. So that would be the only other thing that you could potentially lose if you do go from Active Campaign to ClickFunnels and you have a big operating system like that. But again, I think we're way in the future now. So, okay. And then in the last 3 minutes, just to make sure that I honor Madison's request, is I want to talk about the naming convention. So one of the best things that you can do, whether you are in ClickFunnels or in Active Campaign, is I want you to think, I don't know anybody who's listening right now if you guys feel the same way, but one of my happy places is the Container Store. I love it. I don't know why, but I get really, really excited when I go to the Container Store and I can get like the perfect containers. Like I have 3 containers for my cat food that I know like all the cat food goes there, and it goes really nice inside of the cupboard, and it's all labeled, and it just makes me so happy. And then I like look inside of my cabinet, inside of my kitchen, and there's like a little tiny container for rice, and a container for beans, and a container for like random, things that are open, container for flour, container for sugar, And it's all just like, yes, I know. It's like it's weird and it makes me really happy and I love the organization of it. Yes. Thank you. Yes, I love it. Okay. I take that exact same love and I put that into when I'm working in a CRM system. And even so, and Christopher, I know that we are probably a lot alike on this in terms of the way that you name things and having an organization system when it comes to, I have all my contacts on one list, but how do I remember, like, okay, I know that I want to do something with the people who bought this thing, or I want to make sure that I like follow up with people who attended this event. And so, what I see a lot of times when I'm coming into other people's active campaign is they just use the word of something, right? Like, yoga event, in on the grassy knoll. And that's like the name of a tag. And then another tag is like, book. And then another tag is, like XYZ product. And then another tag is like a date, or another tag is like challenge, or right. And it's just kind of this, a little bit of this crazy wild west of things. And that's equivalent to like looking in your cupboard and it's just all of like the, different boxes and packets and things that don't necessarily all fit. And so then when I'm coming in and I'm like, okay, where did I get that? Or what do I want to do with that? Or where is that at? It slows you down. It's not as efficient. So I created a tagging schema and a naming schema to be able to know quickly, what are the tags telling me about this contact? And then what are my automations in terms of where they're at in the journey and how do I name them? All right. So I'm going to spend just a little bit of time giving you a taste of it. And then tomorrow, this is where we're going to deep dive into it. Okay. So this was a presentation I did actually for Group Track, because Group Track is a social CRM and how do you make it all work. But in this is when I talked about that you have the one list and then my tagging schema. So there are 3 types of tags. So again, a contact is in your database. And then I have so much information about that contact in terms of what did they buy? What did they attend? What are they interested in? And I have this metadata that we just talked about in terms of like custom data. And then I have tags. Right now, when somebody comes through a funnel, right, and they engage with something, they're going to get some kind of tag. They're going to get, basically something about that funnel. They're going to get a tag that's going to tell me about that event. All right. So there are 3 types of tags. The first one was the one I was just describing. That's the customer tag. That's about something about the customer journey. So this says, did they buy something? Did we give them something? Did they register for something? Did they opt into something? Right? It tells me a little bit about the journey. And then, like, what was it that they registered? And maybe there's something about it where it's like, oh, they did that in May of 2023 and we've done a bunch of updates. And now next month, they do it again. Right? These are what I call customer tags. Then the second type of tag is what I call a system tag, right? And a system tag is more, and here I'll go to my definitions, is it tells the active campaign system or the ClickFunnels system what to do. So the really common ones would be like, I need you to jump to a particular goal, or I need you to treat this customer a particular way because they're of this particular type. Now, system tags can get pretty nuanced. And so we're going to focus a lot of our time today, right now in the next 5 minutes, on customer tags. And then tomorrow we'll go deep. And then group track CRMs, not the scope of today, but basically these are in your social CRM system, the tags that you can use to manage your contacts. All right, so let's talk about customer tags. So my schema, if you come to the Container Store, this is the Andrew Peer Container Store for CRM. All right, so what this is in a customer tag, it has 3 parts, right? The third part might not be there depending on what you're doing, but at least has the first 2. So the first part is the customer segment. So there's only 3, maybe 4 types of segments that are out there. They're a buyer, meaning the event that tag came from was a buying event. They're a lead. The event that tag came from was they opted into something, they gave us an email. There's a gift, meaning, okay, there's something about that where like they're already a buyer and I'm just going to give it to them. And then there's network. So meaning like they're not a customer, they're part of my network and it's a networking event of some sort. Okay. The second part of the naming schema is the product information. Okay. So this would be the name of the product. Most 9 times out of 10, that's what I use. And then the third is if that product has a variation. So, AKA, we run a geek camp, right? Every week. So the buyer tag on this, if I was going to have you guys register for it, would be lead because no money's taking place. Geek camp, because that's what this is, workflows, right? And maybe there's even like one more, like workflows May 2023, right? So I know that people, if they registered the registration event, and that's what the tag tells me. So here's one example. So lead, meaning they registered, mastermind, they're coming, it's a free mastermind, and it's the 22 July 22 one. Okay. Another example could be I used to have a Customer Keeper Academy, right? There's no variation right now on Geek Out Academy. Everybody who comes into Geek Out Academy is on the same level 1, right? As our Geek Out continuity right now. So it's just buyer underscore Geek Out Academy, right? Okay. Another example would be a system tag, and this is again where it's the system call and the action. So this is would be an example. And I've used this quite a number of times actually in ClickFunnels 2.0. If I want to jump people to a particular part of an automation, or I want to put them at a particular place, then this would be like a system tag. So it's jump to is a really common command, and then what am I jumping them to? There's several other system ones, but this is by far the most popular. So again, the tagging schema, 3 types of tags: customer, system, and then your social CRM. And the custom one is the one that I would highly recommend you guys start to try on. So it just simply looks like this. So it is lead or buyer, which is 9 times out of 10, underscore product, underscore date. Okay. Super awesome, super cool. So then when you come into your system, oh no. And I don't think were you guys seeing the screen? I don't think you were. Let me just show that visual really quick. There you go. So this is the schema that you can see. So it is customer segment, product variation. I'll make sure that this slide is with the presentation too. Okay. And then when you come in, what you can see is now I can come into my contacts, right? I can go to my tags and gosh, bless it. All right. I will update that in a second. You can come into your tags and you can see all of your tagging schema right there. All right. So that is, I need to change over all my cards. So that gives you an idea of your contacts, and how to better manage them and the tagging schema that you can use. So tomorrow, and I know we went a little bit over, so we'll peel off here in a second. Tomorrow, what we're going to focus on is we know that there are probably 5 critical follow-up funnels and automations that you need with most everything. So usually it's an invitation sequence, it's a abandoned cart sequence, it's a follow-up sequence. If they just got the lead gen, and then there's the buyer sequence, right? And then those are the 4, actually the most common. I feel like I'm missing one. But tomorrow we're going to go through how to build those out with the tags, with the naming schema and everything else, with the custom variables in ActiveCampaign and 2.0, or if you're using both, how to make the 2 systems talk. So come tomorrow if you are interested in setting that up. And true to the workshop, we're going to roll up our sleeves. You guys are going to get in there, ask questions, and build it out yourself. And we will help you with anything and everything. We also are desperately trying to actually give you, because in ActiveCampaign, I can give you share automations. So give you the automation if you want that, or some of you guys just want to build from scratch so you can learn. You have the choice. And then in ClickFunnels 2.0, that doesn't exist yet, but we can build it super fast together. So that is the plan. If you guys have any questions or you want to geek out more on workflows or what you're understanding about custom variables, I will continue to geek out and dive into them. Anything I find, I will report back to you guys. Until then, I look forward to seeing you guys all in the workshop tomorrow. Oh, and just public service, if you are in the Geek Out Academy, of course, the workshop is free. If you're not a part of the Academy, the workshop is just $47, or you can join the Academy and come in for free. So looking forward to seeing you all there. If you are part of the Academy, I'm jumping over to Hot Seats. I will see you guys there, and hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.